Now, this next session will be the first of many Leaders series. In a Leaders series, we'll get to hear directly from top global leaders of governments as well as corporations. We will have Stefania Palma from the Financial Times speaking with Governor Peri Warjiyo from Bank Indonesia. Governor Peri leads Indonesia's central bank, and he was the deputy governor of Bank Indonesia from 2013 to 2018. He has also served as the assistant governor for monetary, macroprudential, and international policies. Governor Peri previously represented the Southeast Asia Voting Group for 2 years as executive director of the International Monetary Fund. So let's hear from Stefania and Governor Peri Warjiyo of Bank Indonesia.
Hello and welcome. My name is Stefania Palma. I'm the Financial Times Singapore correspondent, also covering Malaysia and Indonesia. Joining me today, we have the Governor of Bank Indonesia, Peri Warjiyo, with whom we'll have a one-on-one conversation. Thank you so much for joining us, Governor.
My pleasure, Stefania.
So first off, I wanted to talk a little bit about fintech development in Indonesia. Indonesia obviously stands out in the region as one of the biggest success stories when it comes to the development of a tech sector. There obviously have been the creation of multiple unicorns and also a giant like Gojek with a valuation of about $10 billion. But when we look at the impact that COVID might have had on this sector, on the fintech industry in 2020, what is the situation right now in your view?
Well, I think, pandemic COVID indeed accelerate the development of digital economic and finance, When I talk digital economy finance, it's not about only fintech. It's also about digital banking. It's also about e-commerce, the whole things of digital economy and finance. Why, Indonesia has been, witnessing so accelerated the development of digital economic and finance at the back of pandemic COVID. First, because pandemic COVID-19 making the mobility of people, in any activities, whether to do the works or economic or finance is becoming limited. And the people then, need to resort to digital to meet their demand of, anything from food, the clothes, electronic, that's why digital economy and finance are increasing. Second, for Indonesia, the development of the support of technology is also excellent. Not only on the, the availability of the bandwidth of the telecommunication, but also, the industry is growing and so on. So I think that's also, the service from the technology as well as industry is also supporting that. That is because 60% of our population is millennial. That's why they are so, so fast adopting digital economy and finance. Those three reasons at the back of COVID-19, Indonesia seeing very fast growing digital economy and finance. Steph, can I give you some numbers? Some number on how fast is the digital economy and finance is growing. When we talk about the fintech, I'm talking about, for example, of the payment, the using of the electronic money, e-wallet, those kind of things. The transaction of the electronic money in 2019 was 145.2 IDR trillion, 145.2 IDR trillion. In 2020, we estimate increase to 201 IDR, trillion. And we forecast in 2021 will even increase further, 266 IDR trillion. When we talk e-commerce, for example, in 2019 was 205.5 IDR trillion. In 2020, increased to 253 IDR trillion. And we forecast in 2021 will even increase further to 337 IDR trillion. Yeah, well, let me now talk about digital banking. Digital banking meaning the service of the banking, from the online banking, mobile banking, those kind of things, using electronic as well as digital. The nominal transaction in 2019 was about 26.6 thousand IDR trillion. It's very big. And in 2020, we estimate 27,000 IDR trillion and will increase to 33.2 thousand IDR trillion. So this is the fast growing, industry in Indonesia of digital economy and finance, fintech, especially on the payments, electronic money, on the e-commerce, as well as of the digital banking. This is what we are seeing.
And Governor, as you see, obviously, these volumes increase significantly throughout this year, and a forecast of these volumes to continue growing and at least of being on the same trajectory for next year. I mean, as Bank Indonesia, when talking and thinking about financial regulation of fintech, as this industry promises to become larger and larger, are you also starting to think about, reforming or tweaking regulation accordingly to make sure that you have the correct oversight of the sector?
Yes, indeed, Steph. In 2019, this is prior to COVID, May 29, I'm foreseeing this fast-growing digital economy and finance. So back then, in May 2019, without knowing there would be a pandemic COVID-19, we issue what we call it blueprint of Indonesian digital payment system of 2025. We issue those blueprint with the vision of how to integrate the digital economy and finance in Indonesia. I think that's the vision. This vision, being developed and being achieved through the promotion of digital banking. That's number two. Yeah. Number one is to integrate digital economy and finance nationally. The second is to promote digital banking. The third is to interlink the fintech and digital banking, because we do not want the fintech growing outside of the banking. So there will be interlink between fintech and digital banking. That's number three. Number four, we are promoting the sandbox, the innovation, the startup, of course, with the prudential, principle being in place. So we are promoting startup in Indonesia. That's number four. Number five is, of course, we also engaging in cross-border. How to cross-border need to be in line with our national policy. Those the five vision that we published in May 2019, and by doing that, last year we already issuing QR Indonesian standard. QR Indonesian standard we already issuing, and now already reaching 5.2 million SME already registered nationally. Second, we promote digital banking. That's why digital banking is growing. And then we are also now in the process of standardized application programming interface, whereby the service of fintech and open banking will be interlinked. And also, we are now also developing what we call it Bank Indonesia Fast Payment, retail 24/7 that we are in the process of building, and next year will be first phase of our fast payment will be starting with the credit transfer, and also we are in the final process of issuing our regulatory reform. Where actually we will make more clear policy, because we want industry more agile, more innovative, more adaptive to technology, and we will bundling the services and clear delineation which are the industry which is quote unquote systemic, critical and general. So this is we are in the process of reforming our regulation. And last but not least, we also in the process of developing public data hub from those. So end-to-end process we are implementing our blueprint, and we work with industry, and we are very happy that in this industry and us, regulatory work together to develop, to accelerate, and to reform our digital economy and finance staff.
Perfect. Thank you. I wanted, Governor, also to ask you a little bit about a renewed Chinese interest in investing in the tech sector in Indonesia. We've seen a 55% surge in tech investment in Indonesia in the first half of 2020. And this has come together with a shift in focus by Chinese venture capital investors away from, say, a market like India, which has rolled out policies essentially to counter what they believed to be opportunistic investments from Chinese venture capital into the country. And we've seen, therefore, a move of interest from these Chinese investors into Indonesia as well. Where do you see this trend going? And are you in some shape or form also potentially concerned about the potential opportunistic investments from these types of investors, or are you welcoming this interest in Indonesia?
Step on our policy of the payment system, digital payment system, including digital banking, fintech, on this aspect. I think we are open for foreign participation, regardless where the country of the origin, we welcome. But of course, we have a national policy on the ownership, we also know the ownership, the difference between ownership of financial ownership and also controlling ownership. That's different. What we are wanting is that the building of the ecosystem. When we are building the digital economic environment, need to be a building on the ecosystem. Not only on the e-commerce, not only on the fintech, but also ecosystem to digital banking and so on. Those the thing that we are looking forward. Once again, Indonesia, especially on the payment system industry, we have a clear policy, clear regulation, whereby we are trying to build our ecosystem of digital banking, fintech, e-commerce, to build our financial inclusion and economic inclusion, where some participation of the foreigners, regardless from the country of the region, are welcome, but of course abiding our regulation. I think that's the key step.
Perfect. And looking ahead, Governor, you have said that fintech and essentially the development of digitization could be crucial to help bring about an economic recovery after the coronavirus pandemic. What would that look like in concrete terms in Indonesia? And what is Bank Indonesia and the financial regulators ready to do to help trigger that kind of recovery coming from the tech sector?
Especially, Steph, for SME and retail. SME and retail, actually we already working with industry since last year, and even so, during the pandemic COVID, we work closely with industry. What I mean industry is not only fintech, but also digital banking. We working together. For example, when we are campaigning our QR Indonesian standard, QR Indonesia is the only standard, QR Indonesian standard that only apply in Indonesia. We work closely with the fintech, with the digital banking. We are going into the retail. We are going to the merchant. We are going to traditional market. We are going into the SME. We are going to the tourism. So we are going together to outreach this SME to be registered nationally in the merchant. 5.2 million that we have, we are targeting this year 6 million. Next year will be double, 12 million. 12 million, they're working together, Bank Indonesia, fintech, digital banking, and also this merchant, and more we will register those merchant. By registering those, actually this will be a market not only for fintech, not only for e-commerce, but also for digital banking. But those also being market for our SME to sell their product, for our, for our customer. This is what we are working together. And you're right, pandemic COVID-19 making this more accelerating, more even more. And one more thing, Steph, for the SME, because we are working together with the government, because the government also have national campaign of what we call it Bangga Buatan Indonesia. We proud to use our Indonesian made product. I think this through the SME and some affirmative policy also being given by the government. So this is the flourishing industry step. First because of digital economy and finance, second being accelerated by pandemic, and this will be very good to be developing our SME retail market to be more economic and financial inclusive. This is the new source of growth of Indonesia, Steph.
And we have just a bit over 4 minutes left, Governor. So I just wanted to ask you finally sort of a bigger picture question when it comes to the recovery for such a large market like Indonesia. At the moment, Indonesia faces a significant challenge with more than 500,000 coronavirus cases. It's the highest number in Southeast Asia. And the central bank has been quite pivotal in trying to maintain a certain level of economic stability throughout such a turbulent year. We've seen Indonesia experiment as one of the biggest emerging markets with quantitative easing. Now we're looking potentially at discussions for a change in the Central Bank Act. That arguably some authorities are saying that it would make more sense to have the central bank be brought sort of more under closer political control to help the government generate jobs and economic growth after COVID-19. And I wanted to ask you, looking forward, where do you see, obviously as the governor of Bank Indonesia, the central bank's role? Will it ultimately play a stronger role when it comes to helping the economy be recovered? Can we expect even more experimental quantitative easing going forward?
First of all, independence of central bank still being maintained. There's no doubt. The president himself already guaranteed this. There is no change of the independence of the central bank. But you have to understand what we mean independent, mean central bank independent of their own policy. This does not mean that central bank do not coordinate, do not, talk, do not synergize our policy with the government policy. I think that point number one. And point number two, we are optimistic. Our economic growth the fourth quarter will be positive, and next year will be somewhere 4.8 to 5.8%. The government forecasting 5%. So Indonesia next year and for the next following year, I think will be positive and returning to a high medium term outlook. And with those, what the policy that the government is doing, the government will initiate vaccine. Second, we will open some sector, productive sector, working together. Third, there will be large fiscal stimulus, both for social program and capital expenditure, and including also our job creation law, those kind of things. And the central bank will continue our monetary and stimulus to support our economy. And last but not least, digital economy and finance will be also source of growth. In closing, of course, I'm very optimistic. Indonesia will be, have a very bright outlook of growth next year with stability and moving toward a more middle income countries, high income country even in 2045. And Indonesia, we work closely from president, minister, central bank, respecting each of the policy, but in very close coordination. That's the spirit of Indonesia. That's the spirit of moving together and the spirit of the optimism of Indonesia going to the future. Step.
Perfect. Well, Governor, that is all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with everything.
Thank you, Step. Stay healthy.
Thank you. You too. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Stefania and Governor Perry Warjiyo. The first now Leaders series on the topic of digital transformation being the key to recovery. Now, Mr. Warjiyo is the governor of Bank Indonesia, which has already been nurturing innovation in the digital economy, providing Indonesia with the opportunity to create inclusive economic growth and helping to establish a business ecosystem in the digital economy. Bank Indonesia has also developed innovative payment systems to support the digital economy and digital finance. So big thank you once more to Stefania and Governor Perry for letting us in on their conversation.